I'm Natascha. Alegre, like I said, will be joining us any moment. And today we're going to be talking about setting up your planner for the year. You might have already done this since we're a couple of weeks into the new year already. But if you haven't, now's a good time to pull it out. And if you're joining us live, great. If not, hi, Allegra. If you're joining us live, great. If not, if this is a recorded thing, just pause, go grab your planner. If you haven't already set it up for the year, we're going to walk you through really some of the best practices to go ahead and get yourself set up for your 2024. So, Allegra and I, we have a video series on, we have a video on how to pick the best planner, the perfect planner for you, the perfect planner for, in designing your life. Excuse me. And so, we could have you check that out too. Is that on that's on our YouTube, right?
It is on our YouTube. And for those who are watching on, I don't
Why
know.
it's not letting me. Oh, there we go. Okay. It wasn't letting me unmute. Yes, we have a how to pick a planner video on YouTube. So definitely check that out.
Check that out. So if you haven't gotten one for 2024, or if you've already gotten one, and then you watch our video and you're like, I didn't think about those things.
Yeah.
It's honestly a good investment. Like, you know what I mean? Like, how much is it? I mean, you can go really, really expensive, of course, with planners. Like, you can
fully custom,
super custom, right?
We've seen them.
We have seen them. We've looked at them. We've looked at a ton of different planners, and we talk about that in the video too. Like, we've checked out a lot of different kinds. So you can go crazy and spend a ton of money, but the kind of planner that we ultimately wind up recommending is somewhere between $25 and $35, I think, depending. This year, Allegra, I went a little different. I went a little smaller this year. I went the smaller.
Oh, yes.
Just because, and I really like this. I don't know. There's something about the black that's just like so mysterious, and that gold. I usually get a little bit bigger one, but I decided to go with the smaller one.
Yeah. So here's mine, and I have one of the smaller ones because I did buy it at one point, and I don't think I've used it, but the one Natascha has is maybe like about this big.
Yeah.
2/3 of the size, I would say.
Exactly. And what's kind of funny is as I was filling it in this year and getting it ready, I started kind of like, kind of setting it up, and we're going to go through that today, but setting it up at like late December. I was like, oh, right. Like right now, like I probably could use like readers all of a sudden. Like all of a sudden in like the last few months, all of a sudden I used to make fun of my husband. I'm like, haha, you can't read, haha, and then all of a sudden, like, oh my God. He was like, watch, it's going to come to you. It's going to happen to you. It's going to hit you like that. And you're not going to know, like, he's right. So after I'm filling this in, I'm like, maybe a little planner wasn't the best, but I really do like it. I like the size of it. I like the compactness of it. And what I don't like though, is and we do say this in the tabs that this comes with, we do not.
Yes. And we show you a better, so these we think is better.
This planner comes with, and like, they're cute, they're pretty, but then as soon as you put them on, first of all, they have the monthly calendar, which is great, but that covers up an entire square of your calendar, A, and B, they're just kind of like flimsy. They're definitely not going to last me.
They don't last. Yeah.
The ones that I just realized when I was setting it up on an airplane trip, and I was like, oh shoot, I didn't bring the other ones with me. And so I was like, try these. I kind of regret it. So Allegra's going to show you the ones that we totally recommend.
Yes.
And we do recommend having tabs because, hey, why not make your life easier, right? Why not flip to what you need immediately? And the great thing about the tabs she's about to show you is obviously they're, you use 12 of them for the year, but then you can customize, extras for other parts of your planner.
Yes. And just so before I show you the tabs, just before we get started, yesterday, Natascha and I taught a workshop, our 3-2-1 done workshop.
Yeah.
And someone asked a question that we get asked a lot, and I just feel like it's a good pre-question before we get into setting up your planner, which is, do I need a paper planner or can I use my digital device for everything? And the brain science says that there's something that happens between writing stuff down and getting it into your brain that is different than digital devices. So you can try and fight it, but
not against. Listen, we're not against, because I use my online. I use my Google Calendar all the time, right?
Yes.
I use like a hybrid system.
Okay, so this is our caveat. So go ahead.
Right. So I have a client base that I need to, and sometimes our appointments move around, and sometimes I'm in the middle of, at my kid's soccer practice. And so a client texts me and say, hey, can we switch to Thursday? And I need to be able to put that in my planner immediately. I need to put that in my schedule immediately because the nature of that type of thing. So
Right.
for that type of like my clients and so forth, I keep those digitally. And of course I will then later when I get home, or if my planner's in the car, which often it is with me wherever I am, basically, I will then, of course, make the adjustment on my paper planner. But the paper planner is really about it's really about more holistic or like meta perspective planning, I would think too, right? So it's not just about the everyday kind of, oh, I've got to do this at 12. I got to do this at 3:30, blah, 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 which is important to keep track of. And those digital planners are good for that. Digital calendars are good for that. This is more about what we talk about, which is prioritizing yourself, saving time, and achieving your goals. That's really what this is about, using that paper planner.
And the other thing too is that, like, for instance, here's something I can do with a paper planner that I can't do with a digital planner. I can't take this. I'm taking a workshop right now on something called neurographics, which is very interesting. And I have a handout for my neurographics. It can live in my planner like that. You can't do that with a digital planner. You can't.
And then you might say to yourself, but why, Allegra, would you want to put that in your planner and maybe not have a separate binder or folder for your neurographics things? Well, because in this day and age, and with the stuff that we have in our lives, we love having a planner that acts as more than just one thing. It isn't just a calendar.
No.
Also, Allegra uses a scrapbook, and I have started using that as a scrapbook too, putting little tickets and stickers or whatever kind of thing that I've been using the programs. We saw a lot of shows last year. I'm taking the front end of the program and putting it in there because all the tickets are digital now. So
yeah.
So, I'll put that in. And then when I go back and look at my year, I did this in college when I went for a semester abroad. And when every once in a while, I'll go back and look at that journal that has all that really I use as a journal and a scrapbook.
Yeah.
I didn't use it as it's so wonderful.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
It's just, there's these tactile things, right? So there's that. And so she gets to keep her notes with her in that she always knows where they are because she always knows where her planner is.
And also things like, oh, I need to pay my car registration, but they send it to you 5 months in advance.
Right.
I tape it to 3 months in advance, right? So I don't need to pay it this moment. I can pay it in 3 months.
Right.
So I tape it into my planner. So brain science and personal experience means that we recommend paper planners. Natascha has her kind of system with her students. I do use my digital device for alarms. At the end of every day, I will set all my alarms for the next day, right? Like for this, I have an alarm for this going live, 9:25 a.m. Go live with BYWD.
Yep.
Right? I set all my alarms the day before, or I have ones that are reoccurring. So I do use digital devices for that. However, for planning, we do think having a planner that is big enough to be notebook, scrapbook, gratitude journal, and calendar, and a place to put in plans is fantastic. So Natascha's trying a smaller one. We'll see at the end of the year or maybe the end of the month.
Yeah, who knows? To the end of January, we're like, girl, I can't see this. It also may force me to get with the reality of I might have to walk over to the Foster's Grant readers section.
Yeah.
Or
from your Buy Nothing. I'm sure you can get a ton of readers in your Buy Nothing group.
Oh, and the Buy Nothing, right? Totally, the Buy Nothing. Plus, I had a friend of mine the other day put some readers on. I'm like, those were cute. They weren't old lady they were legit cute. And I was like,
yeah,
oh, those are readers now. She's like, oh yeah, girl, you do not have to get those little granny glasses.
I actually saw cute readers that are like opera glasses.
Oh my gosh, I saw that too, like a necklace.
Yes,
and it looks just like a really cute necklace, and you just pull it up.
Right? Modern monocle.
Modern monocle. Love it.
Maybe that's the name of it too, right? That should be the name.
Monocle.
Okay, so you have your planner. So the first thing you might want to do is make it fun. So I just like to put an inspirational sticker, and then I also like to put these are breathing stickers. They're from a company called I don't know if I have it on me, but These are stickers that are tactile, they're bumpy, and they just remind you to breathe as you trace the rainbow. They have other designs too, but I just like to have it to remind me to breathe. And then the other thing I always do to set up a planner is I emboss the year. I don't know if you can see it very well. There was an Instagram video where I showed everyone how I do this. So that's fun for me because these embossing tools belong to my father, who's no longer with us. And so it's a fun way to remember my dad and just a fun way to kind of like ritualize like the beginning of the new year.
Nice. Very nice. Yeah.
Step number one.
Step
number two is the tabs.
The tabs, right? Yeah. So my flimsy tabs, which I'm going to be getting rid of, and going to the tabs that Allegra will now recommend. These are removable
tabs. And if you go to we have a Amazon shop with our favorite planning tools. You can find it from our website. So if you go to bywdreams.com, there is like our favorite planning tools Amazon pick. So these repositionable tabs, so they show up like this. They come, I like the metallic ones. They have neon colors. They have primary colors. I like these pretty metallics. And these are totally repositionable. Look, you can like unstick it, stick it.
What's so great too is that Allegra's she took the tabs from 2023, right? And just put them now in her 2024, right?
I did not.
But have you done that? You've done that before though, haven't you?
You can't. So, okay. I sing in a choir. I use these same tabs for my songs. I have reused those for 2 years now on 4 different sets of music, right? Because the music changes every 6 months. And I have repositioned those 4 different times and they still are sticking.
Okay. So the only reason I was going to mention that you could possibly take them from the year before planner and because you've already written January, February, March on them.
Yeah.
B, now that 2023 planner has become like archived, right? And so maybe you don't want to have all the tabs on there still because it's not something you need every day. Plus, maybe it takes up more room and wherever you're storing it. So you can reuse.
Yes, you can reuse them. You absolutely can. Yeah. I personally don't because I like to look back at my old planners and I tend to think in months like, oh, when did that happen in April? It's just it's a millisecond faster. So I just leave them, but you can absolutely reuse them. And I have no idea how many times you can reposition because the ones that I have repositioned over and over again, I have not run into them not being sticky. And by the way, this is the large size, but they do have ones that are half the size if you want smaller ones, but they're fantastic and they're very sturdy. Like by the end of the year, in fact, let me see, I don't have last year's right here. It's in the other room, but you can barely tell. I mean, they're so sturdy. They haven't been worn out.
These are cute, but already my spray is starting to rip.
Yeah, the adhesive is not very good.
Also shiny and cute and pretty and blah blah blah. Already, so it's already starting to rip. So yeah, I will be replacing them with the repositionable. Anyway, so yes, we recommend you to go ahead and start doing the physical things to your planner that would make your life easier. Like maybe you find the perfect pen that fits in the pen holder. I found one that fits perfectly in there, right? And and maybe you're a pencil person. So do the things first that's physically makes it the most, convenient for you, right?
Yeah, makes it useful.
Next is we also recommend that you have like an ongoing important dates card or paper that you use, and so that's going to be a sheet. And in fact, we do have a printable. Allegra has an index card. I have a sheet. I don't know where mine is right now.
I have leftover wedding stationery. I think it's hilarious that, I've been married 20 years.
I was going to say, you guys have been married for a minute.
Yes.
Leftovers and wedding stationery. But so this obviously has like January, all of your friends and family members who have birthdays and anniversaries and so forth in January, right? On that card. And you're going to go through. Now I just sit down and do the whole year, right? We recommend you just do it. Like, there's no reason to not do it, right?
So birthdays,
work it out.
Anniversaries, maybe like ongoing work events. Maybe you always have a conference in July, put that in. I always put in tax stuff, right?
Yeah, right.
Every
year. I always have to call my tax guy right around Thanksgiving to make that appointment. So that's on my card. That's like, call Pete for taxes, blah, blah, blah. That's on my card. Yeah, exactly. And so we also have like our property tax we always know is coming up, that kind of thing.
Mhm.
So I put
I-
on the card too, just to, these things that happen year after year.
that happen year after year. And like even reminders, like I put a reminder for myself, open enrollment. So, fund the FSA. And
Right.
then
For your health
for
account.
health stuff. And then in November, I have a reminder that says spend the FSA, right? If you haven't finished spending it out, spend it out.
Right. Mm-hmm.
And then I have other health things like, hey, request a physical because, that's coming up.
Yeah,
And
actually, that's a really good thing they're reminding me because my kid's pediatrician, his schedule has gotten very, very limited. And in order for them to have a physical with him, and we love him, I
Mhm.
do have to make the appointment at least 8 weeks in advance, at least, right? So that
Yeah.
it'll be around their birthday.
Yeah.
Really physical. That's a great reminder. Thank you. That's really great because that just changed this year. And so I want 2 months before my kid's birthday, I want to make sure I make an appointment with our doctor.
And then the other things that I include on here are like tickets for events that I like for instance, the Renaissance Fair, buy tickets by a certain time. My daughter goes to a camp that always sells out really quick and they do not send out any email. They send out no reminders that the camp opens because they have such few spots. They've decided the fairest way to do it is to let those people who are stalkers like me get in. So I have a reminder in my important dates
Yeah. Same.
get into that.
We always fly home to see my folks in the summer and at Christmas time. And it just, there have been years where I waited too long. And then next thing you know, the prices have hiked up, so I have that little reminder, like by the end of this time, make
Yeah.
sure you purchase those tickets. It is, so yes, it's obvious that you want to do birthdays and anniversaries and that kind of thing, but these other types of things that are just ongoing,
Yeah.
put that on your important dates calendar, fill that in first and foremost at the beginning of your year.
Yes.
So I have a comment here from my lovely husband, who is a Steelers fan, y'all. Do black and gold as the primary color for your planner so that you can embrace the excellence of the Pittsburgh Steelers storied franchise in your life and plans. And I would say yes. I would say I know who I married, and I know that the further
Oh my gosh.
embrace the black and gold into your heart. Listen, they're not making they're out of the what do you call it leading up to the Super Bowl? That is called the playoffs. The playoffs, but they're in our heart.
Oh my gosh. That is
They're in our hearts.
so funny. Okay.
Yes, but they're in our hearts. There's always next year.
But hey, that might be a great way to decide how you pick your planner to
Totally.
be
That
sending.
that we do recommend too is like pick a planner that has you get like
Excited.
planner,
Yeah.
so pretty, or it's so black and gold and Steelers, like
Yeah.
whatever gets you kind of like excited about picking it up and using it.
Okay, so the second step that we recommend for prepping the inside of your planner, and this is less prep, this is more planning, is to now talk to, if you have a family, if you have a loved one, talk to them about the time that you are going to spend together. Because if you're like Natascha and I, at a certain point, if date night does not get onto the planner, it does not happen. So, and same with like mommy kid days or daddy kid days or
Right.
vacations. So
My family is, we're going ahead and trying to hit the 52 hikes a year again goal. We did it 2 years ago. Last year we didn't do as well, right? And so what I'm doing is I'm just putting in our regular hike time every single week. If that moves, it moves, right? But I'm trying to hit. If I don't put it in, guess what? Weeks will go by without a hike. Right?
And the whole point here is if you say it's important, then you need to fit it into your schedule.
Right. And date night being one of those things. My husband and I tried to hit 12 date nights last year. We didn't make it. So I put that in there. But going ahead and doing that now too, just saying, okay, we're going to set this aside, even if it comes up like, oh, because we have to reschedule. That's all right. It's already in existence. You aren't just kind of like, oh, I'll do a date night whenever. Right.
Right.
It's just not going to happen.
Whenever doesn't come. It's got to go into the calendar.
Right.
And it's also just a good reminder of what's important to you. You know, it's not to say that date nights and mommy daughter days don't get moved, but there was a time 2 years ago where I almost moved one and I was like, you know what? That's not in keeping with my values. No, I'm going to keep this one because this is more important. And I felt really good about that. And it was just a good, like, internal moment for myself to be like, are my values still in this order or are they in that order? And the whole value talk, we talk about values a lot in our course, Harness the Power of Planning, which is starting this weekend. You're welcome to join us.
Okay, we still have some slots available, so it is virtual. So, you can do it from the comfort of your own home. And if you can't join us in that time frame on Saturday, I believe starting at 10 a.m. Pacific, it's available for you for the next 3 months. All of those modules are available for you to look at anytime you are, you're ready to go ahead and check it out yourself or review it too. It's available for 3 months.
Yes. And you can also just sign up for our mailing list and find out when the next time is that we'll have Harness the Power of Planning. So get in the things that you say are important to you: hikes, workouts, time with friends, time with family, time with loved ones, time for yourself. I like to schedule in what Natascha and I schedule in our bizcation. Natascha and I are friends and business owners together. So it's like, it's kind of, because usually the next step is now look at your planner and put in business stuff.
Right.
Okay. But Natascha and I kind of straddle that. So we plan that way in advance.
Yeah, exactly. but put in those things that, maybe, maybe there is a little bizcation for yourself, or however, if you're your own entrepreneur or whatever, like, going ahead and prioritizing yourself inside of your business is as important as prioritizing yourself inside of your personal life.
Yeah.
And depending on your values, I shouldn't say that. I don't want to put it on you. But the other things that, we're, so far we've talked about like setting it up physically, the planner. Next step is putting in those annual recurring things, birthdays, anniversaries, plus. And then this next one is the things that are important to you that you want to make sure that get in there in your life, whether that's self-care or time with family or working out or all of those things plus. And then this next step is going ahead and teasing out what's important for you in your professional life.
Yeah, more like your goals, personal life, professional life. Also just like, maybe you don't have a quote unquote profession, but whatever it is that you're working on, whatever goals that you're looking towards, whether it's, buying a home or fixing up something or doing some DIY stuff or going back to school, whatever goals you've set for yourself this year, go ahead and pencil in dates. Like, for instance, this workshop we taught yesterday, we had a college student in there, which was really fun. And she said, I have on my to-do list a term paper and the term paper is due on this date.
Right.
Is that the only date I write down? And I said, no. Oh my gosh, what a great question. Thank you. Yeah. Thank you for asking that. Because no, you should put in time to write the term paper, right? So back into it. So
reverse engineer, like, it's due this day. So that means I need to have my first draft done by this day so that I can copy it this day or, edit it. And then, depending on what kind of assignment it is, like maybe I need an outline by this day, right?
Right.
So reverse engineer.
Right.
And it works really, really well. And if you have younger kids who are like, not college students and so forth, I found that this was really great when my kids would get like, oh, you have your science project. It's due 8 weeks from now, right? So I would just print out an 8-week calendar for my kid that's just about this science project. And we would say due date, and then we would back it up into like, you need the poster board done by this day. You need this done by this day, blah, blah, blah. And we would just, we're going backwards through it. And it's really clear to see whether or not you've hit those goals, right? Yes. And then to know, okay, I'm a little behind, that kind of thing, as opposed to then, getting it all done at 2 a.m., which was 100% the kind of college student I was. So, and let me tell you, sure, I did okay. Still did fine with my grade, but what might have been possible had I not been doing it, last minute, A, and B, the stress. Right? Because even if you're not doing it, it's still back here going, oh, I got to get that done. You know what I mean? So even if
Yeah.
you're not stressed while physically doing it, you're still stressed from not doing it too. So, having a plan like that, and at least it keeps you on it, some type of a track, even if you don't hit the marker exactly right, it helps you understand like, oh, I'm actually a little behind. So maybe I won't, sit down and binge watch this show right,
Right.
you know? So that is super helpful, like being able to reverse engineer your dates.
Yeah, so reverse engineer any goals that you have for this year. And if your goals are sort of like harder to reverse engineer because maybe they're softer goals like improve my relationship with X, right?
Mhm.
Well, let's talk about how you can reverse engineer a goal like that.
Mhm.
If you and X maybe live in different states, maybe it's about, hey, I want to talk to X once a week or once a month. And maybe you send a text to X like, hey, I want to connect more this year. Can we put a date on to talk once a week or once a month? And then you put that in your calendar. And
Right.
maybe this person's even important enough. I have some girlfriends who are like sisters to me, and they do not live in the same state. They don't even live in a contiguous state. They're all multiple states away from me. But these friendships are so important that we get together once a year to hang out in person. So, that's the sort of squishy goal that it is possible to reverse engineer. We make the plan the year before. So we decided this past October 2023, that we were meeting in April of 2024. And look, I know that kind of planning might sound like, wow, that's really far in advance to do, but I'm at this point after decades of planning. So maybe you won't get there, but I'm just saying at some point you might get there, but start with the baby steps of, hey, let's chat once a month and let's put that in our planner to chat once a month.
Mhm.
And
Yeah, that really just right. That really does work because it's like squishy goals. Where can you find the non-squishy ways of expressing them, right? So you
Mhm.
want to improve your relationship or you want to have stronger friendships. Okay, so that's going to maybe take me reaching out, like you suggested, right? So how can you kind of make your squishy goals less squishy, or how can you have them express in a less squishy way so that you can still achieve them?
Absolutely. So thank you so much for joining us today in setting up your planner. If you don't have a planner yet, as we mentioned on our YouTube channel, we have a how to pick a planner video
Yep.
that
Look us up, BYW Dreams on YouTube. You'll find us, and we have a whole bunch of videos for lots of different subjects. But go to the Pick a Planner one and kind of tease that out for you. Plus, if you have any thoughts, questions, comments, anything, please go ahead and comment here on Instagram or on Facebook or on YouTube, and we go back and check, and we'll be happy to answer those questions for you.
yeah, and join us next week at 9:30 Pacific for our next live chat. And by the way, we are posting these as our podcast episodes now. So you can find the Harness the Power of Planning podcast wherever you listen, and you can listen to this again, just, audio only.
Bye. See you next week.
Bye.